Hey guys, this is Amit and you are watching Tech Dad. In this video, we are going to compare between Poco X3 Pro versus Motorola Moto G60. And we will discuss which one is better in camera, performance, display, body of the devices, features, communication chips, and about the prices. In the end of the video, I will tell you which one is better according to me. So watch this video till the end. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. Let the comparison start with the camera of the devices. Talking about the rear camera of the devices, X3 Pro have quad camera setup, 48 megapixel of wide camera, 8 megapixel of ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel of macro camera and 2 megapixel of depth sensor. Whereas G60 comes with triple camera setup, 108 megapixel of wide camera, 8 megapixel of ultra wide camera and 2 megapixel of macro camera. So the winner here is G60 because it have 108 megapixel of wide camera, which can take low noisy photos in low light conditions. And about the front camera of the devices, X3 Pro have 20 megapixel of wide camera, whereas G60 have 32 megapixel of wide camera. So the winner here is G60 because it have 32 megapixel of wide camera, which can take low noisy photos in low light condition. Let's talk about the camera features of the devices. X3 Pro have dual LED flash, HDR and panorama, whereas G60 have LED flash, HDR and panorama. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have dual LED flash. And about the video recording options in the devices, X3 Pro can shoot 4K video max at 30 fps, Full HD video max at 240 fps with gyro electronic image stabilization, whereas G60 can shoot 4K video max at 30 fps, Full HD video max at 240 fps. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have gyro electronic image stabilization. Moving to the performance of the devices, let's start with the operating system of the devices. X3 Pro have Android 11 support, whereas G60 also have Android 11 support, so it's a tie. And about the user interface of the devices, X3 Pro have MIUI specially designed for Poco, whereas G60 have stock Android. So I will call it a tie because both of the interface have different UI. Let's talk about the processor of the devices. X3 Pro is powered by Snapdragon 860 based on 7nm processor, whereas G60 is powered by Snapdragon 732G based on 8nm processor. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster processing speed. And about the GPU of the devices, X3 Pro is packed with Adreno 640, whereas G60 is packed with Adreno 618. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can give you more FPS in games. Let's talk about the clock speed of the devices. X3 Pro can clock at 2.96 GHz based on octa-core Kryo chipset, whereas G60 can clock at 2.3 GHz based on octa-core Kryo chipset. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster clock speed. And about the RAM variants in the devices, X3 Pro comes with two RAM variants, 6 and 8 GB of RAM variants, whereas G60 have only one option, 6 GB of RAM variant. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have high speed of RAM and it have multi RAM options. Let's talk about the internal storage of the devices. X3 Pro comes with two storage options, 128 and 256 GB, whereas G60 only have one option, 128 GB of storage option. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster read and write speed and multi-storage option. And about the external storage of the devices, both of the devices have external card slot but they use a shared SIM slot, so it's a tie. Moving to the display features of the devices, let's start with the display size of the devices. X3 Pro have 6.67 inches of display and G60 also have 6.8 inches of display. So the winner here is G60 because it have bigger display size. And about the screen to body ratio of the devices, X3 Pro have approximately 84.6%, whereas G60 have 85.3%. So it's a tie here because both of the devices have approximately the same ratio. Let's talk about the screen resolution of the devices. X3 Pro comes with Full HD Plus display. On the other hand, G60 also have Full HD Plus display. So I will call it a tie. And about the display type of the devices, X3 Pro have IPS LCD display having 120Hz of refresh rate with HDR10 support, whereas G60 also have IPS LCD display having 120Hz of refresh rate with HDR10 support. So again, it's a tie. Moving to the body features of the devices. Starting with the thickness of the devices, X3 Pro have 9.4 mm of thickness, whereas G60 have 9.8 mm of thickness. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it has slimmer body design. Talking about the weight of the devices, X3 Pro comes with 215 grams of weight, whereas G60 have 225 grams of weight. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have lighter body weight. And about the protective glass of the devices, X3 Pro have Gorilla Glass 6, whereas G60 have Gorilla Glass 3. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have newer generation of glass, which is more durable than its older generation. Let's talk about the build quality of the devices. X3 Pro have glass back with plastic frame, whereas G60 have plastic back with plastic frame. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have solid build quality. And about the SIM options in the devices, both of the devices have dual nano SIM support, so it's a tie. Moving to some of the most important features of the devices, let's start with the fingerprint scanner of the devices. X3 Pro have side mounted fingerprint scanner, in the other side G60 have rear mounted fingerprint scanner. So I will call it a tie because it's up to you which side you prefer, it's up to you. And about the sensors in the devices, X3 Pro have accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity and compass, whereas G60 also have accelerometer, gyroscope and compass. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have proximity sensor. Let's talk about the battery capacity of the devices. X3 Pro have 5160 mAh of battery, whereas G60 have massive 6000 battery capacity. So without a doubt, the winner here is G60 because it have bigger battery capacity. Let's talk about the charging speed of the devices. X3 Pro have 33 watts of fast charging, whereas G60 have 20 watts of fast charging. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster charging speed, which can charge up your device faster. Let's talk about the loudspeaker of the devices. X3 Pro have stereo speakers, whereas G60 have normal speakers. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can produce immersive sound. And about the headphone jack of the devices, X3 Pro have 3.5 mm of headphone jack, whereas G60 also have. So it's a tie here. Moving to the communication chips in the devices, starting with the W line of the devices. Both of the devices have Wi-Fi AC, dual band Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi direct and hotspot. So it's a tie here. And about the Bluetooth version of the devices, X3 Pro have 5th generation of Bluetooth, whereas G60 have 5.1 generation of Bluetooth. So the winner here is G60 because it have newer generation of Bluetooth. Let's talk about the positioning chips in the devices. X3 Pro have a GPS, GLONASS, Galileo and BDS, whereas G60 have a GPS, GLONASS, Galileo. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have BDS chips. And about the USB connectivity of the devices, both of the devices have 2nd gen of Type-C connector with OTG support, so again it's a tie. Moving to the price of the devices, in the international market, starting range of X3 Pro is around $220, where G60 is available from $250. In the Indian market, X3 Pro have starting range from 17,500 rupees, whereas G60 is available from 18,000 rupees. So the conclusion of the video is, in the camera the winner is G60, in the performance the winner is X3 Pro, in the display it's a tie, in the body segment the winner is X3 Pro, in the features of the device it's a tie, in the communication chips it's a tie, and about the prices the winner is X3 Pro. So the decision is totally yours, which device you like the most so far, and let me know in the comment below what do you think, which device is better for you. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you like our content, please like our video, share this video and subscribe to our channel. Comment what's your thought in the comment below. If you're watching this video on Facebook, please like our page TechDad. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, here's my Instagram ID on the screen. This is Amit and I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, bye.